Hello, John here again. This is observations number 4. I'm numbering them now because if one wants to sort of check something, one can do that. And the subject I want to just talk about there now is something that hopefully we experience, but we see the difference: joy and happiness. Now, is there a difference? Well, there is a bit of a difference. Joy is something that's come in here. It doesn't require anything. It requires actually faith. And if you have that, you begin to have joy in your heart and soul and peace. Happiness sometimes is often associated with joy, but happiness is a passing thing. You can be probably happy if something good happens to you. For example, you are looking for a job when you start out. You get a job. I get a job, and that means you're going to get pay and money in your pocket, which has been scarce up to then. I recall the first time I got my job. Well, I got my second job. The first job was just getting some kind of training because, well, I had my leaving cert. I didn't know much about business. I didn't know much about invoices or letters or this, that. I was good at English, but a lot of stuff I didn't know that's important when you're working, like filing and all the rest of it, and how you conduct yourself in business, especially if you're dealing with the public, that type of thing. And I was, in some small way, I was answering the phone in my first proper job in Dublin, in a garage near Western Row, the olden days. And they were all doing good business, by the way. Anyway, that's the story, but I'm talking about it. So there was happiness when I got a job, but joy and happiness. Happiness is, say, when you got good news about something or another. Perhaps you fall in love. I won't say you're swept off your feet because these things don't last, unfortunately. Reality, it's the thing. And you see, people have their pluses and minuses. We all have them. And anyways, so joy. It comes, as I say, from a spiritual dimension. Now, for example, when you think of happiness, those of us that are, say, Catholics or Christians, we have priests and we have nuns. We had nuns very much to the 4 years ago, Sisters of Mercy, Ursuline sisters, Presentation sisters, Loretta sisters, Mara sisters, and in priests we had diocesan priests, we had we still have Franciscans and Dominicans, and we had then missioners as well from different things, but they were sometimes dressed like the diocesan priests, but the Franciscans and Dominicans have their own particular uh, habits, I think to call them, and they're still wearing them, whereas Catholic priests are in a minority now, and they're not wearing their clerical garb as much as they used to for some strange reason. I think it's because of the anti-Catholic media, the anti-Catholic government, perhaps, and something like that. But we're talking about joy. I better not get into that. I often get sidetracked. This is the trouble. Joy, happiness. So when you think of nuns, we say in enclosed orders, what do you think? If you're a Catholic, you're sort of fairly sure that they're very joyful, and though ones that are not practicing Catholics, ones that, for example, believe in nothing and believe in everything, wouldn't know, they would think that they were kind of miserable. But I'll give you a little example. It's in the paper, just the Irish Catholic this week. Have a look at that. Do you see that lady there? Do you see that lady? Do you see the smile? Wouldn't you call that joyful? Joyful. Right. It is joyful. There's happiness there, and there's a nun with a veil behind her. She has a white. a white tablet. So what's it about? Following her year of being a postulant, Sister Laura Cullen receives a blessing from Sister Gertrude Kelly at Glen Cairn Abbey, County Waterford, on her clothing day. She's going to be a nun, and it's an order. I think people are able to go for retreats there. And retreat means spending a few days in a silent retreat and trying to develop your spiritual life and examine yourself as to where you're at and what you're at. But there's a lovely, happy face. You don't see too many of them, and she's in a convent. And many a nun like that is in enclosed orders. Now, they're able to meet now and again, and they're not quite as isolated as they were, but they are happy. That's joyful. That's what you get when you're developing this Holy Spirit within your heart and soul, because you were born in the image and likeness of God. You were conceived. You're special. Nobody is like you before or since. So I just showing you that joyful picture. Have a look at it. So if you're one of these ones that think that people, ladies that become nuns or people that become priests, that somehow or other they're not joyful. They're more joyful than many a one that has everything and there's nothing in here in their heart. That's what you call joy. And so any of you out there, ladies, girls, boys that have a kind of maybe a vocation for the religious life, follow it. It'll do you good. You'll be like that, because when you do things for God, that's what happens to you. Now, I'm a lay person in that sense of the word, but I can see the benefits of that. And when I was young, I had my leaving cert. I remember the priest come from an order, because you get talks like that, and he was talking about a vocation to the priesthood, and and to give an honest answer, I didn't know whether I had one or not, because I had a certain attitude that would be bordered on a vocation. But I also had an interest in ladies, girls. You know, you're growing up there. I definitely had this, it was just normal in that way. And so he called to the house subsequently and went for a walk, but he was from a missioner. And quite frankly, not that I was that fond of being a diocesan priest, but I wasn't too keen on going to countries that I didn't particularly think was good. Somehow or other, probably wrong, but I thought Africa was what they call the white man's grave. It's a very warm, hot country in that, and these hot countries often have mosquitoes and God knows what and things in the grass. St. Patrick is supposed to have got rid of snakes out of Ireland, and you get some people that think they know it all, saying, that was figuratively speaking. He got rid of evil or something like that. But perhaps there was snakes. Well, I'm not saying that there was. But I mean, it was funny things them times, wasn't there? We weren't around then to know what the story was. And we know St. Patrick wrote the St. Patrick Blessed Place. I'll give you a go at that in due course, because it'll do you good in here to think that this great St. Patrick that brought the Catholic faith to Ireland, to say somebody else, one or two other ones I didn't hear much about, but St. Patrick is the one credited with bringing the faith in 432. That's a fair few years ago, isn't it? So it stuck here a good while. It was, the apostles did a great job, a couple of 2,000 years, but they were afraid of their shadow upstairs. And they got the Holy Spirit in here, wherever to get it into your heart. And out they went, opened the door, out. and I wasn't afraid to sort of say, listen here, you. And Peter said, you crowd of Jesus has risen from the dead and we're witnesses. And he appeared to an awful lot of people. So you see what I'm saying? This is it. So have a look at I'll finish off. Have a look at what we call joy. Just have another look at that. That's what you call joy. Aim for that in your life. If you have a vocation, go ahead and enjoying the priesthood or the religious life. You'll have happiness like that if you have a vocation at all. And supposing you're a lapsed Catholic, or supposing you don't believe in anything, believe in something for goodness sake. Don't be going around with your head in the sand like an ostrich. Just believe in something. Have something between your ears and in here, in your heart. So that's a little thought for you there now. I hope it's a positive thought and do you good. Because that's what I aim to do. Try to do as much good as I possibly can while I'm still knocking about. I'm a good age, and young people think when you get old you're finished. That's the best time of your life. You've got the experience, and providing that you didn't go too far astray, you still have it. You have it now in spades. It's a marvellous time to put your experience to good use. I'm happier now than I ever was. I was happy enough when I was young too. But you had your problems because you were growing up and experiencing life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as the fella says, like that film. Yeah, okay, bye now. Have a good evening on Holy Thursday. I think they used to call it Maundy Thursday as well, but Holy Thursday we'll call it. We're in Holy Week now at the moment for this is for Catholics and Christians, but particularly Catholics.